Hi folks, you were tasked us today, your pushback channel. Thank you for joining this live stream. Please listen to this essay or this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about what I've now realised is an ongoing propaganda campaign pushed by, in this instance, Australia's largest media outlet, where there's every couple of days, almost every day at the moment actually, there's a new piece, headline piece. It's on their headline on their website, which says and asserts quite boldly that Australia is absolutely a hotbed of fascist Nazi, Hitler, swastika waving, racist Nazis. A hotbed of it. No, I mean, if these articles are true, I mean, you know, there are swastika waving racist Nazis under every bed, in every closet, and around every corner. Man, you cannot take a shit without a racist, fascist Nazi waving a swastika. It has to be a swastika there. You know, being in the bathroom with you. I mean, that's how bad it is. I mean, it's seriously bad. So let's have a look at these pieces. Now, I didn't think. I mean, this media outlet is you know, very pro-globalist, you know, hysterically anti-Trump, and you know, all this sort of stuff. And the mere mention of you know, reducing migration to skilled migration, that mere mention of that is they just suddenly, you mention skilled migration, Hitler, they just go straight to that, and so you can't get a whole lot of sense out of them. They're just a straight out propaganda outlet, and but they've been on this thing recently where they've ginned up the racism thing. Now, again, Australia's a hotbed of evil, fascist, Nazi racism. Now, I'm a guy, as I've mentioned many times before, who's travelled the world over many times on business. And I can tell you that Australia is one of the least racist places in the world. All the, you know, these third world countries that these leftist globalist activists go into a swoon over, they are way more racist than Australia will ever be. But that doesn't matter. White is Hitler, is racist, is Nazi, and they've just got that ideology tightly nailed down, like the low, you know, the low IQ doctrinaire fanatics that they are. So what are these stories then? Well, they're puff pieces. There's no facts to them. They're all sort of anecdotal, or I don't know if these people even exist, and whether they've made these claims that they're supposed to. So it starts off, you know, here's one. Little Annie Chu looks at her mother and cries. Why is little Annie Chu crying? She's crying because of the racist barbs she suffers. And her mother cries too, because, and there's a picture of little Annie Chu in pink, by the way, here, little girl too, you know, got to tick a couple of boxes there, and cries too because of the racism. Why are people so racist to me, she asks, through tears streaming down her cheeks. Why are they? Because only yesterday they called me a ching-chong, and there was all these white skinheads, neo-Nazis, doing Hitler salutes, waving swastikas. There were millions of them, hundreds of millions of them, and they were all calling me racist names. And I knew they were fascist Nazis, and I saw Hitler. Hitler was in, and so on it goes. And so hysterical claims. So let's peel it away, the crying and the little girl in pink, and let's sort of pull it away. So wait a minute. So you allege that somebody, very improbably in my view, but anyway, you allege somebody called you a ching-chong, and because of this, you cried and your child cried uncontrollably for what seems like days, if I understood it correctly. And because of this horrific racial abuse by Nazis, swastika waving Nazis, got to have a swastika in the story, but because of this alleged you know, racial slur, I don't know if I can stay in Australia anymore, because the racial abuse is just off the charts. Ching Chong is so bad that I have to move to another country. Now, does the article attempt any balance? No, I speak passable Mandarin, Chinese Mandarin, And so I attended many meetings in and around the Chinese speaking community in Asia where they say the most horrible things about white people, terrible things. I mean, slurs upon slurs. Ching Chong is tame stuff compared to the stuff that I heard as I sat quietly and smiled stupidly around the room, listening to what they were saying. And but there's no balance to the article. There's no that, well, okay, Ching Chong's not nice, even if it was said. But the stuff they say about us white people is way worse than whatever we're saying about them. No, there's no attempt at balance. It is a pure propaganda hit piece. It is a hit piece against white people in Australia. That's what it is. Let's call it for what it is. It is a hit piece, premeditated hit piece. I don't know if that Chinese woman even or Asian woman even exists. Did this slur supposedly exist? Did people actually say this? Now, the way it's presented is there's these neo-Nazi fascist Hitler gangs of white skinheads running around, calling people, non-white people, calling them names, like Ching Chong. Now, I don't know if they are these violent thug fascist Nazi skinhead swastika waving gangs. I imagine they'd use language maybe a little bit more severe than Ching Chong. That would be my take. But look, that's only me. Did that word ever get mentioned? Was it mentioned? Was it does the people that supposedly said it even exist? I would doubt it somehow. It's just too perfectly and beautifully constructed to be true. Now let's just look at some wider stuff. This was a migrant, I suppose a refugee migrant that came to Australia, and the family was given free housing and so on in one of the more remote towns. I suppose you could call it even a small city, I suppose, but a remote town in Australia, and they've been given everything for free. It's talk about freebie handouts. They supposedly the article contradicts. Annie Lou went to English classes so she could speak English as good as any Australian, so that just shows her dedication to assimilating, integrating, and wanting to be a real Australian. And then a couple of paragraphs on, she apparently hardly speaks any English at all. And so all the white people make fun of her accent and her inability to speak English. I don't believe people do make fun of that inability. Most people I know, I don't know anyone that isn't, would be very understanding of that. So I don't believe that happened. If there was one person that made fun of it, I suppose that's possible, I guess. But this idea that's universal and every white person is saying racist things and Nazi gangs run rampant again, no, that's not true. That's all made up. It's invented. So it's a hit piece, and they've invented crimes that haven't occurred, or they've ginned them up or whatever. But so when I saw that, I sort of had a bit of a chuckle and didn't think much about it. A couple of days later, I'm back on that website. You got to see how the other side thinks, and they've got another hit piece, and it's style exactly the same. They've just changed the name of the non-white person who's the victim of, and they've changed the logo, but it could be the same story. In fact, it's like a boilerplate approach, and it's the same sort of thing. Here's this hardworking, third world peasant or so, and they're being horribly oppressed and victim of the most horrendous racism and this and that, and wow, and Australia is so racist and evil. Again, swastika waving Nazis are just everywhere, and pushing that same. Now these are lies, and there is no pushback against this at all. No pushback. If it was reversed and something negative was being said about, I don't know, black people or lesbians or something like that, the outcry will be international. They'll be screaming from the rooftops. Now, the only way we're going to get sense back into the wider public debate and even to news delivery and the public discourse is to say, well, that's illegal. If it's illegal to say that about black people, then it's illegal to say that about white people. And you will go to prison if you do it. That's the only way we're going to level things and create a sensible discourse. Because at the moment, every group everywhere can pile on to white people and accuse them of anything and everything. They just invent the crimes that white people are supposed to have done. And they're able to do so with utter and total impunity. And until we address that, we are never going to be able to unwind the insane globalist project. You've been fantastic today at your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.